Welcome to Pillow Talk Dreams, where every night becomes a story and every story leads you to peace. If you love calm voices, gentle journeys, and stories that help you drift into dreams, then don't forget to subscribe and let your nights be a little softer. Now close your eyes and let the story begin. The world was fading into night. Above the distant hills, a silver thread of moonlight spilled across the sleeping earth, turning rivers into ribbons of glass and the clouds into drifting ghosts of forgotten days. Myra stood by her window, the same window she had watched every night since childhood. It opened toward the east, where the stars always appeared first, tiny lights, patient and constant as if waiting for her. Tonight felt different. The air carried a hum, soft and endless like the breath of the universe itself. She wrapped a blanket around her shoulders, a warm, woolen one her grandmother had woven long ago. Its edges were frayed, its scent faintly of lavender. When she pulled it close, it felt as if she were holding the world itself. Outside, the night deepened. The stars blinked awake, one by one, until the sky looked like a vast ocean made of tiny promises. Myra whispered, "I'm still here." No one answered, but the silence was gentle. She remembered the stories her grandmother used to tell, the ones about how each star was a dream someone once wished upon, and how when you feel alone, you can always find your reflection in the night. Under this blanket, her grandmother would say, you are never alone. The universe listens, always. Back then, Myra thought it was just a bedtime story. Now, after years of chasing days that moved too fast, she wasn't so sure. She stepped outside. The grass was cool beneath her bare feet. Somewhere in the distance, a night bird called. The sound echoed through the valley like a lullaby from the earth itself. She lay down on the grass and looked up. The sky stretched endlessly, its darkness soft, its stars shimmering like memories. For the first time in many months, she let her thoughts slow. Every heartbeat felt like a word the stars were whispering back. Breathe in the air of eternity. Breathe out the weight of today. The wind brushed her hair and carried a scent of pine and rain. She closed her eyes. And there, under the blanket of the universe, Myra began to drift, not into sleep, but into something quieter. A space between waking and dreaming. A place where memories turn into light. In that half-dream, she saw herself as a child again, running across a field with a jar in her hands, trying to catch fireflies. The night had been warm. Her grandmother's voice had called her home from the porch, laughter floating in the air. The fireflies had danced around her, little lanterns of life. Now, lying under the real lanterns of the sky, Myra realized that the fireflies had always been teaching her something, that light does not need to be loud to be strong, that even small glows can hold the dark together. She felt her thoughts turning soft, her breathing slow. Every worry of the day, the unanswered messages, the endless noise, the unspoken fears, began to dissolve like mist. The stars above seemed to listen, and in that listening there was comfort. Maybe, she thought, the universe doesn't speak in words. Maybe it speaks in silence, in breath, in the gentle pull of gravity that keeps everything connected. Maybe peace isn't something you find. Maybe it's something you remember. As the night deepened, a soft drizzle began to fall. Tiny drops kissed her face, cool and tender. The world smelled of rain and earth and beginnings. She pulled the blanket tighter and smiled. Above her, lightning flickered far away, silent and beautiful, like a heartbeat hidden behind clouds. The stars seemed to shimmer brighter for a moment, then steadied again. Myra whispered to the sky, "Thank you for keeping me." Her eyelids grew heavy. The rain turned to mist. The night sang its endless song. Under that wide, breathing sky, she finally felt it. the soft truth her grandmother had tried to teach her all those years ago. We are never really small. We are never truly alone. We are threads woven into the same blanket, the blanket of the universe. And tonight that blanket tucked her in. The rain had stopped. The clouds had drifted away, and the world glowed faintly silver. Myra was still lying on the grass, her blanket damp with dew, her eyes heavy but peaceful. She wasn't quite asleep. She was somewhere between breathing and dreaming, a place where the air hums softly and everything feels both near and far. And then, something shifted. A soft blue light moved across the sky, not like a shooting star, but slower, deeper, almost like it was swimming. Myra blinked. The light grew brighter, tracing a gentle curve above her. The stars seemed to move with it, forming waves in the sky. She felt her body rise, not in fear, but in wonder. The ground was still beneath her, but her spirit, her awareness, was floating. The world below faded into a sea of silver mist. The stars above opened like petals of light, and Myra began to drift upward, slowly, gently, as if carried by an invisible tide. She found herself standing on what looked like water, but it wasn't water. It shimmered like liquid glass, reflecting constellations that rippled when she breathed. A river stretched out before her, glowing faintly blue and gold. It flowed silently through the sky, winding among the stars like a path only dreamers could see. When she stepped onto it, her feet left circles of light that slowly faded behind her. "Where am I?" she whispered. A voice, soft and familiar, answered. "You are walking through what you have always carried, the river of your own sky." Myra turned but saw no one, only the stars and the faint trace of her own reflection in the shining water. As she walked, she began to see shapes in the distance, memories, floating like lanterns above the glowing current. She saw her childhood room, her grandmother's smile, her laughter echoing in sunlight. Then she saw moments she had forgotten, her first heartbreak, her quiet loneliness, her nights of silent tears. Each memory floated past her, glowing softly. None of them hurt her now. They were just stories, stories that had built her. She reached out to touch one, a memory of her sitting alone at a station years ago, watching trains pass under a stormy sky. The image melted into silver dust and sank gently into the river. And she understood. The past was not gone. It had simply become light. The stars above shimmered, and a faint melody began to hum through the air. It was the same tune her grandmother used to hum while weaving the old blanket, the one she now held around her shoulders in the waking world. Myra smiled. "I remember," she whispered. The voice returned, gentle as before. "The universe never forgets those who remember love." She followed the river for what felt like hours or maybe seconds. Time didn't exist here. Each step brought a new scene. A tree made of light, whose leaves glowed with colors she had never seen. A bridge of crystal mist connecting two constellations. 1,000 small moons orbiting each other in silence. She felt no fear, no weight, only calm and the slow heartbeat of the cosmos around her. At the edge of the river stood a figure, tall, cloaked in starlight. Myra couldn't see their face, but their presence was peaceful. "Who are you?" she asked. The figure smiled, their voice echoing like distant thunder softened by time. "I am what you've always sought, the quiet between questions, the space where your heart rests when words fall away." "Are you the universe?" A pause. Then the answer came like a sigh of wind through leaves. "I am the part of you that touches it." The figure lifted a hand and pointed toward the horizon of the glowing river. Beyond it lay a vast expanse of darkness, not empty but deep, soft, alive. "You must cross," said the voice. "There you will remember why the stars watch you." Myra hesitated. "I'm not sure I can." "You already are," the voice replied, And with that, the figure faded like smoke into starlight. She took another step, then another. The river grew thinner, its glow dimmer, until it became just a trail of light under her feet. The stars around her brightened, humming softly as if cheering her forward. And then silence. She reached the edge. Below her stretched the infinite dark. It wasn't frightening, it looked soft like velvet. The moment she stepped off, the universe seemed to breathe. Myra fell, not down but inward, through layers of starlight and memory, through whispers of her own laughter and tears. Each moment that had once hurt became a spark of light guiding her descent. The deeper she fell, the quieter it became until there was nothing but stillness. And there in that stillness she heard it, a heartbeat. Slow, constant, vast. It wasn't hers alone. It was the heartbeat of everything, the trees, the oceans, the winds, the galaxies, all breathing together. She floated in that rhythm, no longer separate from it. She was part of it. Every star pulsed with the same light inside her chest. Every sound, every silence was familiar. And then she heard her grandmother's voice again, softer than a sigh. "Sleep, my child. You are wrapped not only in a blanket, but in everything that ever was and everything that will be. The universe is not above you, it is within you." The stars faded to silver mist. The river disappeared. The ground beneath her returned, the soft, damp grass. Myra opened her eyes. The sky looked the same, but she wasn't. Something had shifted quietly inside her. She could still feel the hum of that great heartbeat beneath the silence of night. She whispered, "Thank you." And for the first time she meant it. Morning came softly, like light trying not to wake the world too soon. Myra opened her eyes to the pale gold sky. The blanket around her was damp, yet warm. Birdsong drifted from the trees. The grass shimmered with dew. For a moment she lay still, listening. The hum she had felt in her dream was still there, faint but steady. It was inside her chest, a rhythm softer than her heartbeat. She sat up slowly. The valley below was calm, and the distant hills looked as if they were still half asleep. Myra pressed her palm to her heart. "It wasn't just a dream," she whispered, because somehow the world felt alive, not just the trees or the river, but the space between them too. The silence had a presence. The air carried intention. That day she walked through her small town like someone seeing for the first time. Every sound, the creak of the bakery door, the splash of a cartwheel in puddles, the laughter of children, sounded like part of a single song. She noticed things she had forgotten to see. The pattern of sunlight on cobblestones, the way wind bends a candle flame but doesn't put it out, the way strangers smile and look away, shy and kind. Everything, she realized, was connected. Even the moments that felt empty carried meaning. When night returned, Myra lit a candle near her window. The flame flickered gently, as if bowing to the stars beyond the glass. She whispered to the night, "Can you hear me?" At first there was silence. Then a soft vibration through the air, like a sigh that didn't belong to wind. It wasn't a voice, not exactly. It was a feeling, warm, infinite, wordless. Myra smiled. "You can." And she felt the stars smiling back. That night sleep came easily. She lay beneath the same blanket, her fingers tracing its frayed edges. It no longer felt like just a blanket. It felt like a key, woven from every heartbeat, every memory, every breath that had ever touched her life. When her eyes closed, she didn't fall into dreams. She rose into them. The river was waiting for her again, glowing gently in the darkness. But this time she wasn't alone. A small light floated near her, round and golden, like a lantern with wings. It circled her slowly, humming a melody that matched the beat in her chest. "Hello," she whispered. The light pulsed brighter as if answering her. "What are you?" It spun once, leaving a trail of tiny sparks that formed a single word in the air. Memory, Myra's eyes softened. A memory of what? The word dissolved into the air and reformed as you. The light drifted ahead of her, guiding her down the river of stars. Each ripple glowed when her feet touched it, sending waves of light across the sky. She followed in silence, feeling both heavy and light at once, anchored by peace, lifted by wonder. The light stopped beside a floating image, a moment from her past. She saw herself, much younger, sitting under the same tree she had just walked past that morning. She was crying silently, clutching the same blanket to her chest. Her grandmother's voice, echoing from memory, whispered through the scene. "When you feel lost, listen to what doesn't speak. The silence will guide you home." The memory dissolved. "Why are you showing me this?" Myra asked softly. The light shimmered, forming new words. "You listened." Myra felt tears slip down her cheeks, not sad tears but gentle ones, like rain falling from a full cloud. "I didn't understand before," she whispered. "I was always waiting for someone to talk back, but the whole time the stars were already speaking." The light pulsed brighter, almost like it was smiling. They walked until the river widened into a glowing lake, still and vast. Above it hung a single, enormous star, so bright it painted silver patterns across the surface of the water. Myra stepped closer. Her reflection in the lake shimmered with starlight, her eyes glowing faintly. For a moment, she wasn't sure if she was looking into the sky or out from it. The light hovered near her shoulder. A soft hum filled the air. The voice she had heard before, the gentle, cosmic tone, returned. "Every time you quiet your mind, we speak. Every time you forgive, we listen. Every breath you take, we echo." Myra knelt by the lake, her reflection blending with the constellations. "Then the stars, they're not far away." "Never," said the voice. "They are not above you. They are within you, shining through your stillness." She felt a warmth rise from the lake, wrapping around her like a soft, invisible embrace. For a moment she could feel her grandmother's presence again, not beside her but through her. The same love, the same patience, the same silence. The stars flickered gently. Myra's body began to glow faintly, as if her heart had caught their light. She closed her eyes and let herself sink, slowly, peacefully, into the lake of starlight. There was no fear, only calm, only belonging. As she drifted deeper, the voice whispered one final time. "When you wake, remember this: the light is not something you find. It is something you are." When Myra opened her eyes again, dawn was just beginning. The candle beside her window had burned down to a pool of wax. Outside, the world was quiet. Even the wind seemed to pause. But inside her, the hum was stronger than ever. A peaceful, living silence that would never leave her again. The days began to pass differently for Myra. She no longer rushed through the hours or counted her worries. She simply lived, softly, quietly, like the earth turning without needing to announce its motion. Each morning she would sit by her window, her hands wrapped around a cup of warm tea. Each night, she would watch the stars bloom again, as if they were old friends returning home. But one evening, something unusual happened. A flicker of golden light appeared above the horizon, not a star, not a planet, but something moving, graceful and alive. It drifted slowly toward her window, glowing with the same soft hue as the memory light she had seen in her dreams. Myra opened her window. The air felt cool and alive, filled with that same quiet vibration she had come to know. The light hovered near her hands, shimmering gently, and then she saw another one, and another. Dozens of golden lights appeared in the sky, spreading across the valley like floating candles. One of them pulsed brighter, and Myra heard a whisper inside her thoughts. "You are not the only one who listens." She drew in a breath. "Who are you?" "Dreamers," the voice said. "Like you, each one carrying a light, each one wrapped in their own piece of the universe." The lights began to drift closer together, weaving through the air until they formed thin silver lines, threads of light, connecting one to another, stretching farther than Myra could see. It looked like the night sky had opened to show its secret design, an invisible web binding all hearts, all lives, all breaths together. Myra felt tears rising again, not of sadness but of awe. She whispered, "So every soul is a star." "Every soul," the voice replied, "is a thread of light. Alone they shimmer. Together they make the fabric of existence." She thought of the blanket her grandmother had made, each thread carefully woven, each color chosen with love. Maybe that blanket wasn't just a symbol of comfort. Maybe it was the universe's way of speaking through her grandmother's hands. Every person, every story, every dream was another stitch in the infinite cloth. The golden lights began to move again. This time, they descended slowly toward the earth, like glowing seeds. Myra followed one as it floated down and settled near the old tree in her yard. When she reached it, it pulsed gently and formed an image: a woman sitting on a beach, far away, watching the waves under the same night sky. Myra could feel her. The woman was a stranger, yet somehow they shared the same calm heartbeat, the same silence. "Every listener shares the same night," whispered the voice. "Every dream touches another." Myra smiled softly. "So when we dream, we meet." Yes, the dreamer's world is one blanket spread across the sky. No distance, no time, only connection. The lights shimmered brighter. Each one, Myra realized, represented someone else in another place, someone falling asleep, someone breathing softly, someone whispering their worries to the night. And through that shared stillness they all touched. It was the gentlest truth she had ever known. She closed her eyes. Images flooded her mind, not visions but feelings. A boy looking up at the stars from a city rooftop. An old man humming quietly in the dark. A child hugging her pillow, whispering a wish before sleep. Myra could feel their peace, their hope, their quiet, and she sent her own in return, a small wave of warmth from her heart, spreading into the threads that joined them all. For a moment she felt the whole world breathe together. Millions of tiny heartbeats, millions of tiny dreams pulsing in rhythm. Then she heard her grandmother's voice again, woven gently into the hum of the night. "You see now, my child, the blanket I made for you was only a mirror. The real one was always above you, around you, and within you. You have never slept alone." Myra's lips trembled with a soft smile. "Never," she whispered. The golden lights began to fade, one by one, returning to the stars above. But the threads remained faintly visible, a vast, glowing web stretching from horizon to horizon. It hummed quietly, like a song the universe sang only to those who knew how to listen. Myra wrapped herself in her old blanket and looked up once more. The night was deeper now, but not dark. It was alive, with the faint light of 1,000 dreamers breathing beneath the same endless sky. She whispered, "Good night, my friends, wherever you are." And somewhere across oceans and mountains, a dozen hearts smiled in their sleep. The next morning unfolded with the hush of dawn. No alarm clocks, no rushing cars, only the whisper of wind sliding through leaves. Myra woke feeling lighter than air. The hum inside her chest was steady now, like the soft vibration of the earth turning beneath her. She rose and stood at her window. The horizon glowed faint pink, and a veil of fog drifted lazily across the valley. Everything seemed to breathe with her. The cup of tea in her hand steamed quietly. When she exhaled, her breath joined the mist outside, as if the sky itself was sipping the warmth from her palms. And for the first time, she realized she no longer needed the stars to speak. She could hear them already, in every sound, in every silence, in every gentle movement of life around her. That day, Myra walked farther than usual, past the fields, beyond the town, along a narrow path that wound between hills like a forgotten thought. Every step she took pressed softly into damp soil that smelled of rain and roots. The sun rose fully now, but its light felt different, warmer, quieter, as though it was shining from inside her. At the top of the hill stood an old oak tree, ancient and calm. Its trunk was wide, its roots deep, and its branches stretched across the sky like arms reaching for eternity. Myra sat beneath it, laid her blanket on the grass, and let herself rest. A small breeze played through the leaves, making a sound like distant chimes. She closed her eyes, feeling her heartbeat align with that rhythm. Time slipped away. When she opened her eyes again, the world had changed. The sky shimmered like liquid glass. The colors deepened into soft shades of indigo and silver, and the air, sweet, still, endless, tasted like dreams. She was no longer under the tree. She was standing on a vast plain of starlight. Above her, the universe stretched open, wide and luminous. Around her, millions of threads of light wove in and out, forming galaxies and rivers of energy that pulsed like living veins. Myra looked down at her hands. They glowed faintly, woven with light just like the threads around her. She whispered, "So this is the inside of everything." A gentle voice replied, close and everywhere at once, "Yes, this is the heart that beats beneath all hearts." It was the same voice she had heard since the beginning, soft, patient, infinite. "You have traveled far, little one," it continued, "through silence and sorrow, through memory and dream. What do you seek now?" Myra thought for a moment, her eyes tracing the shimmering expanse before her. "I want to understand," she said quietly. "Why do we feel so small when we are made of this?" "Because you were born to learn wonder," the voice said, "to look at infinity and still find meaning in a single heartbeat." A wave of light rippled across the plain. From the brightness emerged countless shapes, beings of pure energy, glimmering softly. They weren't human, yet they felt familiar. Each pulse, each flicker carried a warmth Myra recognized from the dreamers she had felt before, the same souls she'd seen connected by golden threads. One by one, they lifted their gaze toward her, and their lights shimmered like greetings. "We are you," they said together, not with words but with resonance. "We are every thought you have ever shared, every kindness you have ever given, every love you have ever felt." Myra's eyes filled with light. She felt herself dissolve into that chorus, her own glow merging with theirs. No boundaries, no names, only connection, only peace. And then she saw her grandmother, not as a ghost, not as a memory, but as light within the greater light. Her smile was made of starlight. Her voice, gentle as always, slipped through the air like a lullaby. "Do you see now, my child? The blanket was never to keep you warm from the world. It was to remind you that you belong to it." Myra wanted to answer, but her throat caught with feeling. She simply nodded, and tears turned into light before they could fall. Her grandmother reached out, touching her forehead with a fingertip of silver flame. "Carry this warmth with you," she whispered. "When you wake, share it. Every kindness is another thread." And then her figure faded, melting into the stars until there was only brightness, pulsing softly like a heartbeat that would never stop. The world began to shift again. The plane of light rippled, the stars turning into dust that swirled around her like gentle snow. A deep, slow sound filled the air, a cosmic sigh, the sound of creation resting. The voice returned one final time. "It is time to return, Myra. The universe will keep breathing through you. Wherever you walk, you will carry its calm." The stars folded inward, wrapping her in waves of warmth and silence. The hum grew louder until it became one with her own breath. And then stillness. She woke under the old oak tree, the morning sun painting her face with gold. Birdsong fluttered through the air. Her blanket spread over her knees looked ordinary again. Faded, frayed, simple. But when she touched it, she could feel something alive woven inside. A quiet rhythm, like the pulse of the stars. She smiled softly and whispered, "I remember." Days passed, then weeks. Myra's life returned to its simple pace, yet everything she did carried a new kind of light. When she spoke to others, her voice carried calm. When she walked through town, the air around her seemed to soften. Even the people who didn't know her began to smile when they passed, as if some unseen comfort brushed against their hearts. She no longer needed to chase meaning or search for signs. Every breath, every sound, every silence was enough. One evening she sat by her window again. The stars appeared, one by one, blooming gently in the indigo sky. She wrapped herself in her old blanket and whispered into the night, "Are you still there?" The wind moved through the trees, a slow, tender rustle that felt like an answer. "Always," it seemed to say. Myra closed her eyes. She could almost see the golden threads again, weaving from her window into the vast beyond, connecting her to strangers, to dreams, to every soul under the same quiet heavens. She felt their peace, their hopes, their silent prayers. And she sent hers back, a single breath of gratitude that drifted like light across the sleeping world. The moon rose higher, wrapping everything in silver calm. Myra lay down beneath the window, her head resting on the folded blanket. Her breathing slowed. As she drifted toward sleep, she thought of the river of stars, of the lights she had followed, of the voice that had guided her home. Everything she had seen, everything she had learned, now lived quietly inside her chest. The hum was still there, soft, endless, like the lullaby of creation itself. And with her final waking thought, she whispered, "Good night, universe." As Myra drifts into peaceful sleep, I want to remind you, dear dreamer, that you too are resting under the same blanket of the universe. Every breath you take, every quiet thought you have, ripples softly through this vast, gentle sky. If this story touched your heart tonight, take a moment to share it, send it to someone who needs peace, someone whose heart deserves a little calm. And before you close your eyes, don't forget to subscribe to Pillow Talk Dreams. Every story here is made to help you feel loved and fall gently into the arms of sleep. Tap the like button so more dreamers can find their way here. Share this video with your favorite person and let them know they are not alone under the stars. This is Pillow Talk Dreams, where every night is a journey toward peace, and every dream is a soft whisper from the universe itself. Sleep well, dreamer. Until next time, good night.
Cause you were mine. Cause you were mine. you.